Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Al Longoria with Dog Training, with Longoria House Dog Training in Houston, Texas. And hey, we're going to be starting our live Q&A. As always, I've got a couple of things to do as we get started and this live stream comes up. There's some people that follow our event, and I want to make sure that are following that event, that I want to make sure they get a link to this broadcast. So if you'll just bear with me for the next couple of minutes, well, I'll take care of that. We'll get our question and answer started. But hey, I'm so happy that you're here, that you're joining us. Whatever questions that you have, I'm more than happy to answer them. If you've got friends that have dogs and they're needing some help, why don't you share that with them? But here, give me a couple minutes. I'll be right here and I'm gonna send that over. So hopefully everybody has had a good day today. All right, so let's see if I can figure this out. Need the live stream to come up on my iPad here. There it is. I'm gonna grab that link and then I'm gonna find the event, and anybody that was in the event will then be able to make sure that they're able to find this. Okay, and here we go, write something, post an event, and here is the, got it. Here is the live feed. All right, so here we go, and post that, okay, and off it goes. Well, hey guys, again, like I said, my name is Al Longoria. I'm with Longoria House Dog Training. Hey, very honored that you would actually come and watch this, spending your Wednesday evening with me. We really appreciate you. So I've got a couple of things going on that I want to talk about. I want to talk about a little bit about what happened today, which is something that rarely happens, but I think that it's definitely worth talking about. But I did want to talk to you guys just about a couple of things. So we've got a couple of giveaways going on right now. So the first giveaway you may actually know about. I'm actually giving away through Instagram a bag of your dog's favorite food. Now, the way that you enter that is that you submit a picture to us of your dog, and then over the weekend, really kind of Saturday night through Monday, people are going to be voting, and if your dog happens to win, then they could win a bag of like a Canna or Origin or whatever it is that your dog enjoys. So hey, if you want to find out how to do that, well, let me tell you how. We're actually kind of revamping our newsletter, and we actually started that. So if you go to my website, which is Longoria House, and house is spelled the German way, H-A-U-S, longoriahouse.com, on the very top of the page, you're going to see where it says newsletter. When you go in there, if you sign up, this is my second giveaway. If you sign up, okay, I'm actually going to give away a pair of these toys that we use for our own dogs. So, hey, go there, sign up for the newsletter. One person that signs up tonight, I'm going to determine the winner probably at the end of the evening. We'll get a pair of these shipped to them, and then you'll have a second chance to actually win win your dog's food by sending me a picture of your dog through the link that's in the email. And there, if your dog gets the most votes this week, you can buy as big of a bag of dog food as you want, or I'll buy it for you and I'll get it over to you. The bag I bought today was close to $100. So hey, just really want to do that for you guys. So hey, thanks again for watching. So what I want to talk about is my experience today. It was a pretty interesting thing, so I'll go ahead and say it. I got bit by a dog today. It had actually been some time that I had since I had been bit by a dog, and yes, I'm okay. So the bite wasn't all that bad. It did break the skin, and I've got a little bit of bruising on my leg where the dog bit me. And I think it's important for you to understand kind of what my mindset was in that moment. Now, it's obvious that I made a mistake in trusting the dog in that moment. And I'm going to go ahead and set up the scenario for you about what happened and how, you know, maybe you can learn from the mistake that I made, but then also knowing that if your dog is biting people, that there's also help for your dog so they can learn not to do that and live a better lifestyle. So let me set up the scenario. What ended up happening is that the dog came out of the bedroom, was on a leash, and was brought over to me. When the dog was brought over to me, one of the things that I do when I meet dogs is I really don't talk to them all that much. I slacked the leash. So I slacked the leash, and then when I did that, okay, the dog seemed to do pretty well. And then at that moment, I had some different foods that I was going to offer the dog. So I began to, bring the food up to the dog's nose with the leash completely slack, and the dog began to smell it. Now, I could tell that the dog was nervous. Leading up to this, the dog has done some questionable things, and the owners really wanted to fix that. So I began to offer the food to the dog, and I could tell that the dog was really nervous about me, didn't necessarily know how to handle company, and was very timidly taking the food out of my hand. I didn't actually get bit when I was offering the dog any food. Okay, so the next thing that happened is we went through the food. I actually found a food that the dog was really, really enjoying. So when I did that, then we were going to begin to train the dog. And I had set out to give the dog 3 pieces of information about staying. Sorry that I'm just a little distracted. I want to make sure that if you guys are asking questions, that I'm actually able to get those. Let's just make sure, and I'm going to continue with my story here. Okay, great. There we go. So what ended up happening there is then we had the leash, and I began to lure the dog back into the thing that I wanted it to do. What I was going to ask the dog to do was to put all 4 of its feet on the bed, okay, on this elevated dog bed. So I got the scent to the dog's nose, and I began to lead the dog over there, and the dog was a little reticent about doing that. And then the dog started to get on the bed, but it was kind of in a tight spot. So the dog put 2 feet on there, and then the dog backed off. So at that moment, I wanted to actually make it easier for this slightly nervous dog to actually get it right. So when that happened, what I did is I turned my back to the dog. That's the mistake that I made. And when I moved a chair, I slid a chair across the floor, it made a sound. And at that moment, that's when the dog came and bit my leg. Now, I was very happy that I actually had a leash on there, and this is one of the things that I really wanted to help the dog understand that, hey, I understand you bit me, that you were afraid of me, but I wanted the dog to understand at that moment that it's never okay to bite a human. It's never okay to do that. And so at that moment, I used a leash. I put some pretty firm pressure on the dog to say that I'm not okay with you doing that. That lasted for just a few moments, and at that point, then we kind of de-escalated. We let everybody kind of chill out and go from there. So here's what I'll tell you, okay? Dog bites actually do happen. And whose mistake was the dog bite? Was it the dog or was it mine? What I'll tell you is the dog bite actually it's my mistake. It's my mistake that I had this nervous dog in front of me. I turned around, and the dog, didn't want, the dog was going to nip me because it didn't trust me. Now, I get that. Now, does the dog have some responsibility in this? Absolutely, the dog has some responsibility. But let's just kind of look at the real big picture for a moment. What led up to that moment? The dog's life culminated in that moment happening where the dog was going to bite me, okay? And the things that the owners were allowing in the dog's life was actually going to allow the dog to do those kinds of things. So the dog believed that, hey, it's perfectly fine for me to treat a human this way. So what I want to teach you, or what I just want to talk to you about, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about this, is, how do we live our lives with our dogs to where they're actually going to be very happy and, happy with their lives, the way they're living together with us. But the other thing is, are they also going to be reliable? Can we trust them around our children? Can we trust them around our friends, our neighbors? And can we take them out in public, and that we can trust them to have good manners? And really what that boils down to is the daily interactions that you're having with a dog. Now, this may seem kind of big picture, but let's actually simplify it real quick. I like to make things real simple when I train the dog. When I train you guys, it's a little different. I like to give you all the details so you can understand how the communication flows and how your dog actually learns. But let's just keep it real simple. At some point, the dog has to learn that when we ask you to do things, that they are fundamentally good to do. But then the other thing that they have to do is they have to understand that, yes, you must do the things that I want you to do, even if I don't have food in my hand or in my pocket, if I don't have a ball, and that I'm not going to praise you, and that I'm not going to pet you right away. That, hey, You're going to have to do this voice command that I asked you to do, and there might not be any reward for a little while. And I think that when you begin to live your life with your dog, understanding that yes, they have to respect the boundaries that you set, and then secondly, when they respect those boundaries, that then it is your job to make them feel wonderful for the excellent decisions that they're making, that's really going to go a long way to making the relationship, what it to be, the thing that you want it to be. So let's just talk about creating respect from your dog. Creating respect from your dog doesn't come from giving them treats, giving them food, or even being soft with your dog. Creating respect with your dog is asking your dog to do something, allowing them to maybe cross that boundary of the thing that you didn't want them to do, and this is an important part. And then when they do that, insisting using with your leash, telling them that you absolutely have to go back and do the thing that I want. The mistake that people make in creating respect for themselves is that they establish a boundary, the dog comes up to the boundary, and then the dog begins to push against the boundary, not quite crossing it, and they push the dog back. And I just think that it's important for the dog to just a little bit cross that line. When they cross that line, then you get to tell the dog, every single time that you cross my boundary, I'm going to put you back and tell you to do the thing that I want you to do. That part right there is so important. And what I call that is giving the dog knowledge instead of making the dog right. So I just want you to consider that this week as you're working with your dog. Yes, you should reward, you should praise, you should pet. But when your dog is beginning to teeter on the side of I'm going to bite people when they come over because I'm afraid or I just want to, I think it's important that you be very clear where that boundary is and you hold your dogs accountable for that. Well, hey, I'm going to end my rant right there, but hey, thank you guys for joining in. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. I'm going to begin to look down, and I've got some questions here, and I'm going to go ahead and take that. And hey, just want to say hi to everybody that's tuned in. Mandy, hi. Mom, I love you. Thank you for joining in. Let's see. Hey, Scott. Thanks for joining in tonight, man. Appreciate you. And Annie, I'm going to answer your question. And Maria, hey, how are you doing? Thanks for being here. Hey, and if you're watching right now, you haven't said hi, love to give you a shout out. But if you have a question about dogs, hey, would love to hear your question about anything and everything that you have. If it has to do with remote collars, clickers, how to use your ball, how to play tug, how to do some tracking or something like that. So Annie, you've got you got a question here. What is one activity or behavior you suggest to do every day to reinforce that? So Annie, I don't necessarily get the context of the question, like, and what is it that you're wanting to reinforce? But so as you answer that, let me go ahead and start talking about the reinforcers. So the single most powerful reinforcer for your dog is interactive play. Let me just kind of describe what interactive play is. Interactive play involves stalking, like where you see like a panther like beginning to stalk its prey. Dogs stalk too, okay? Chasing when your dog is actively running after something. Pouncing when your dog jumps up on a person or jumps up on another dog, okay? And then also if you think about squirrels and rabbits and balls and all that, when the dog bites it, then also when the dog begins to shake it, and then when the dog becomes possessive over it, and then finally when the dog consumes that. All of these things that I just mentioned are actually going to be ways that your dog actually gets rewarded, okay? And that's through play. The thing about play that we all have to be careful about is that it releases adrenaline into the dog's bloodstream, and if you're trying to create a calm dog, play is not going to give you the ability to calm your dog in the moment. The way that play will actually calm your dog is you play a very interactive game with them. Then when you play, that's going to bring their energy levels down. And this is one of the great times that you get to practice for them to be calm and under control because their energy levels go low on the other side of vigorous play. So one way to reinforce your dog is by playing fetch or by playing tug. And there's a lot of different ways to go about playing those games, okay? The next way that you can reinforce a dog, and this is probably the most common way, is a lot of people do treats, but I also feed my dogs their food. So when I'm raising a puppy, I don't actually have a lot of bowls of food for my puppy. My dogs actually have to work for their meals. Now, my dogs get fed every single day, but I think that it's important to have them work for the meals. And then as I'm making the dog work for its meal, I'm also associating my voice. All right, so let me read your question right here. It says, just one training activity to remind the dog of the boundaries. Yeah, so like the place training is, in my opinion, the best place to start. So you need a leash and you need some food. Okay, those are the two things. Oh, and it's easier when you have an elevated bed. We have those soft cushiony beds that we buy for our dogs. I don't actually recommend that to start with, but what I do recommend is a bed that has some very definitive edges. If you want, when I'm done answering this question, jump over to Instagram. You can find us at Longoria House. And look at the pictures where you see dogs on a down, and most of those pictures are going to be dogs on this elevated bed. So what I do is I lead the dog onto the bed with luring, so I'll bring food to its nose, lure the dog onto the bed, give it some incredible moments for the dog to be down on the bed where it's eating, but I also have a leash. Okay, all right, so you've got the bed from us. So this is all you need. So a good calming activity is let your dog come off the bed, tighten the leash. When your dog comes off, put it back on and then relax the leash. And then the other thing is that when your dog actually stays on the bed and in the down, then it's important to begin to feed your dog right there. A mistake that people make whenever they're doing this is that the dog comes off the bed, and that's a mistake, and they do it without permission. We put them back on the bed, okay, and immediately give them food, or immediately begin praising them or petting them. So that is a bad reward, because it shows the dog when you come off the bed, and when you come off the bed and we put you back on, that you earn reward. So it's important, if your dog comes off the bed without permission, guide it back with the leash. And then when you guide the dog back with the leash, delay your reward for a minimum of 3 seconds, but maybe longer. Okay, so hopefully that's going to be helpful. Let me just talk about the other rewards, okay? We talked about play, we talked about petting. The other two types of reward are physically petting your dog and also praising your dog. And we can do a lot of different things with our voice. Like, so for example, I can begin to talk like this, and that will have a calming effect. But I can also raise my voice kind of like it is right now to kind of bring it up and to kind of keep some attention, okay? But it's important not to lead with your voice. It's important to make your voice be last when you're first starting the dog. So hey, hope that helps. Thanks so much for joining in tonight. And hey, for those of you guys that don't know, we have a couple of giveaways. I'm going to give you one of the ways right now. We actually have, we're actually revamping our newsletter, and we've got so much interesting stuff going on there. But one of the things that I'm going to be giving away to anybody that signs up for our newsletter tonight is I'm going to pick one lucky winner, and those folks are going to win these pair of balls. So at the end of the evening, I'm going to go and take a look and see who signed up for our newsletter, and I'm going to pick at random one of those folks, and then it will be in contact to help you to ship you these balls. How do you actually sign up for our newsletter? If you just head over to our website, which is longoriahaus.com, that's LONGORIAHAUS, that's the German spelling for house. .com. At the very top of the page, you're going to see that it says newsletter. Go in there and then just fill out the short form with your name, and then also your name, your email address, and that's going to then enter you in for our newsletter. So hey guys, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate y'all. All right, so I'm going to take a look at a couple of you guys that are watching the live stream, okay, and to begin to answer some questions. Hey Sylvia, good to see you. Hey Maria, glad that you're here. Lynn, love you. Thanks for joining in tonight. Mike, good to see you, man. Hope you're having a good day. All right, Kim. Hey, nice to see you. Let's take a look. We are working with Henry the command to down, and he is only obeying a command when there is a treat in our hand. How do we get the command without a treat in our hand? Okay, so this is such a great question. I really like this question. So one of the things, and I know Henry pretty well, so here's what I'm going to tell you. I want you to put Henry on his bed, okay? And I want Henry to also be hungry when you put him onto the bed. So if you're going to ask him to down, have him on the bed, all 4 feet on the bed, have his leash. I know he has a remote collar, have his remote collar on him too. And so then what I want you to do is I want you to give the down command, but I don't want any food to be in your hand. So what you're going to do is you're going to gesture to him with your hand. you're going to speak the word down, and then with your eyes, I want you to look down at the spot that you want your dog to down to. Now, the next part is a little detailed, so here's the instructions. Look down at the bed for up to 30 seconds, but do not repeat your voice command. If your dog in those 30 seconds goes into the down and he didn't sniff your hand, then what you're going to do is you can click, and then after you click, that's when you're going to reach back into your bait bag, your food bag, and you're going to feed him some, but I don't want any food in your hand to begin with. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the things that might possibly happen. So you give that down command, he gets interested and he kind of reaches out to smell your hand to see if you have food. I want you to back off of the dog, take a couple of steps back, but keep your down command and keep looking at the bed where you want him to down. If and when he steps off the bed, with the low level button on your remote collar, press the button and tell him to go back to the bed, and then turn off the button the moment that he's on the bed. I want you to pause for about 5 or 6 seconds at that moment and not engage with him in any way. Then you will begin that process again of pointing down and doing it. Let's just say that he does that. Let's just say that in that he does the down, you need to begin to point. He does the down, click, and then reward. If you don't have the clicker, you can point, he does it, and then you reach into your hand and get the reward. You're going to back off of Henry, taking several steps back as he gets better at doing the down with you further and further away. But like, to get this right, you can never put any food inside of your hand, because the moment that he smells it, that's gonna work against you. This is kind of detailed, but I know that it's possible, and I know that he's a smart enough dog to be able to figure it out. If you're having a lot of difficulty, I'd love to stop by and just kind of show you how to work this skill, okay? All right, let's take a look at some other folks. Hey, appreciate you guys joining in this evening. All right, Maria, so how do I correct an over-mouthy dog? He's constantly mouthing me or my kids or things. All right, so this is a great question. As a matter of fact, I actually dealt with a dog today that was doing it. Here's the rub on this one, because it's a little random, right? You never really know exactly when the dog is gonna do it. And yeah, your dog, he puts your mouth on you, you holler no, and the dog is, then 20 minutes later, the dog is coming back and biting you again. So hey, what in the world can you do? All right, I'm gonna come out of the camera for a second. Let me see if I can grab it. Yeah, okay, here, great. I'm gonna grab my backpack. It's my Mary Poppins bag, and I'm just gonna show you guys a couple of different things. I got my dogs right here, right next to me, and they're just like, hey, that bag is open up, and I know you have all sorts of wonderful things in there, to be able to help. I know you guys already have a slip leash on him. That's actually a tool that you could use. You could use a slip leash to be able to help your dog, but I'm gonna show you a tool that I got that's specifically for this issue. It doesn't work all the time, unfortunately, but it's gonna work the vast majority of the time, okay? So this right here is a pro slip collar. I had a local company make these for me because I was finding that, you guys, folks didn't necessarily wanna have a leash. Yeah, that's right, he eats his leash, right? So you can't necessarily leave it on him. So the Pro Slip Collar, what it's designed to do is it goes over the dog just like your normal slip leash, but with as big of a neck as your dog has. You're going to put this on him, and what it should do is it should leave just a little piece that's hanging. And that piece, for many dogs, is going to be inaccessible. Because of your dog's size, you have an advantage there because there's not going to be a lot. So he would wear this. This is the first solution. So if he was wearing it, he's wearing it around the house because you're giving him freedom. So then the moment that you come out of the room, and then all of a sudden the dog, comes and begins to mouth you and do all of that. So I'm going to give you the science, and then I'm going to show you the technique. The science is, like I've told you guys, behaviors are modified by emotional consequences. Consequences that don't generate emotions in the brain don't tell the dog if I should do it more or if I should do it less. So you come out of the room, that's the trigger for him. Oh, I'm gonna get her. And then He puts his mouth on you. That's the behavior. Here's the tricky part. Within a second and a half, you need to grab your pro slip collar and begin to put some pressure down the line. You actually have to produce the emotion of being uncomfortable, because that uncomfortableness will tell the dog's brain the activity that I did leading up to that, I should do it less. Now, that's a one instance thing, and it takes you being prepared. It's such a good idea to have a tool like this on the dog, so that way when he's randomly doing it and you can't necessarily predict when it's happening, that everybody in the household can hold him accountable that we're not going to allow you to do that. Now, to be fair to your dog, it's so important that your dog actually get to mouth some things. Yep, you got to be quick. You got to be really, really quick, okay? The remote collar can be useful, but the problem that I'm seeing with people in this behavior in the remote collar is that they have the remote collar on the dog does the behavior, but there's no transmitter to be found, and then you find the transmitter 20 seconds later, a minute later, 5 minutes later, and it's outside of the window for it to be effective for the dog. So the remote collar can be tricky. This can be good. Now, some people think that maybe using a prong collar, but I'm very wary of having my dogs running around unsupervised with a prong collar on, but that could be effective. Humans also tend to be a little too hard on the prong collar, so I wouldn't use that. So I think the Pro Slip Collar is a good choice. We do have those for sale, so if you're interested, I'd be more than happy to ship you one, or definitely I can bring it the next time I see you guys. I'm sure that's going to be in a couple of days. So, oh hey, yeah, keep it super glued to your body, but just don't super glue your fingers to it, okay? So, all right, guys. Well, let's keep looking, see what other questions that we have. Hey Scott, so I see that you had the same problem with your dog. Try those steps. Okay, try those steps that I talked about to get your dog into the down by creating some distance, that you're beyond the barrier, that you've taught the dog that you're going to have to respect this barrier, and you move away and you give your down command without your dog being able to sniff your hand, and that's really gonna do that. All right. Hey Anna, thanks for joining us. Scott, thanks for joining. Okay. Hey Robert, glad to have you here. Well, hey, does anybody here have any questions for all you guys that are joining us? Thank you so very much for joining this live Q&A. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys that you take the time out of your night to come and watch. If this is any value to you, hey, why don't you smash down on that heart button? I'd really appreciate those. But also, you know, if you know somebody that has a dog, and you know that they're needing help, or maybe they want to improve the relationship, you can hit that share button down below and let your friends know about what we're doing. Just to kind of give you guys our schedule, we're going to be running these live Q&As every single Wednesday of this month. So, you know, if like you can maybe, if you're in the vet's office this week, let your veterinarian know that, hey, you know, Longoria House is doing a free Q&A. If anybody in the clinic is having any problems, is having any problems that they're trying to overcome, hey, this is a great place to come and get some of those questions answered. And then if you need even more help than that, and you're kind of on a tight budget, why don't you ask me to shoot a video for you you're like, hey Al, how does that actually look like, all these things you're talking about? Like, hey Al, you talk a big game and you're talking about this and it works. Well, you know, there's challenges in dog training. There's challenges, and I can always explain a method to you, but sometimes it's good to just watch. I'll show you, if you guys aren't on Instagram, I also posted this on Facebook. So I was actually teaching an Airedale Terrier just a couple of days ago how to come when called. And it was really nice. You know, we were downstairs, we were having this conversation about how, you know, how the dog, when it hears its name, it should immediately turn around. And then after that, you got to teach the dog to come back into your personal space, and how wonderful that was. And here was the game that we were going to play, and it was just going to be an amazing, beautiful game, and it was going to go off like that. But it didn't. If you watch that video, it's about a 7-minute video. But after you see the explanation, I actually want you to watch the beginning of when I deal with a dog, and I'm struggling. I'm struggling a little bit because the dog is not necessarily responding to the communication that I'm giving. But Okay, struggling's okay. I'm perfectly fine with struggling with any dog that's ever in front of me. But then I quickly begin to adapt to see, hey, what is it that in my communication that's making it tough for the dog? So then as I begin to read the dog and the dog begins to communicate to me with its body language, I change the picture of what the dog is seeing. And then you see the puppy very tentatively begin to work the exercise, but it's super slow. And then after that, you see the puppy begin to get faster and faster and faster for the dog to be like, okay, I actually understand this game. And then after maybe a few minutes of the dog, me making it easy and the dog getting better, then all of a sudden you see the dog actually doing the exercise the way that I had envisioned in my head. So, we're really trying to put out a lot of content for you guys and stuff where you're actually seeing me work with a dog. We're going to be putting more and more of that, for the rest of the year and years to come. But if you're struggling with something and you want to know what it looks like, hey, like I said again, I'd be more than happy to film anything that anybody needs for free, no questions asked. Just want to help you guys have wonderful, wonderful relationships with your dogs. Oh, I got a couple other questions. Oh, Kim, thanks so much. Really, really appreciate you. Hi, Sarah. Good to see you tonight. Okay, Mike, so you had a couple of questions. So deprogram Mally from digging to get attention when negative attention when she's outside in 100-degree heat. No doesn't correct behavior. It just reinforces her being rewarded with interaction with me. Mike, so here's a really good one. This is the dog. This is the whole thing about the grass being greener on the other side. When you put your dog in the backyard, what are the choices that your dog has to be able, to do something? What Mally is trying to tell you right there is that, hey, I need to play some kind of fun game. And since there's nothing else in the environment, the funnest thing in the environment is now me digging in the dirt and beginning to look for things. And I get that. It's not anything that we want. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how I live my life with Gabby and Fritz. One of the things that I've been trying to be very good at and very diligent at is that every time that we all go in the backyard, we kind of practice a couple of things. We practice playing. I play tug quite a bit with the dogs, but the thing that I do even more than that is I play with these things. I play with these things practically every morning, and I play with the dogs for 20 to 30 minutes until their tongues are literally going to fall out of their heads. But the other thing that I do is I'm playing these games in my backyard, and I think this is really important, and I see a lot of people struggle with this, is I also begin to teach the dogs that when you're in my backyard, I'm going to ask you to settle. I'm not going to give you a ton of voice commands, but you're going to become calm in the place that I'm asking you to become calm. And I want the dog to actually stay there. And I feel that as I begin to do that will begin to balance the dog, and the dog will really begin to understand what the backyard is all about, okay? Now, that doesn't fit for everybody. So there are a couple of things that I think that actually might be able to help you. One of the toys that I've seen, and we do use it, I don't use it a lot, but it's a pretty powerful toy, is a Jolly Ball. So there's a couple of Jolly Balls that I like to use. There's a Jolly Ball that has a rope that runs through it. This is a really great interactive toy for your dog to play in the backyard because the dog can bite the ball and it can also grab the rope and shake it around, and it has a lot of fun with that. There's another Jolly Ball, which is a round ball, but it has like a triangle-shaped handle, and I see the dog carrying it around in its mouth. If you're in a single dog situation, I recommend the ball with the rope. If you're in a multi-dog situation and your dogs get along really well, then I like the ball with the handle because as the other dog is coming after that dog is holding the ball and running around and they wear themselves out. But you know me, I love to have a lot of interaction with my dogs. So using the 2-ball, playing tug, using our flirt poles, and also using the protection equipment that we use is a really great way to be able, for me, to be able to wear out my dog and do that. So hey, hope that answers your question, okay? And hope to see you soon, man. Can't wait for this temperature to actually begin to cool down. I know I'm going out really early in the morning and really late at night to be able to reward the dogs. All right. Oh, I see Gerda is saying hi to Mom. Y'all are so nice, ladies. Okay, Kim, can you explain the toy that you just held up? Yeah, so this right here, and I am actually giving some of these away, Kim. So, and I'll talk about that after I describe the toy. This toy is a couple of things. This is I believe it's called the Everlasting Fun Ball. You can buy them at your local pet stores like Pet Ranch and Fur Babies and Natural Paws in Kingwood. There's also, Natural Paws is in Kingwood and throughout Houston. You can buy these there. I also think that the big name stores also carry those. And then what I do is I take this rope and I add the rope to it just to kind of show you what you'll find at the store. But I do sell these, but I have a little contest where you could actually win one of these. So have the ball right here. This is the ball. You can see that it's got this nice little hole, and whenever I introduce it to a dog, I'll stuff the dog's food into the hole, and then I'll give that to the dog, and they'll be able to have it in their mouth and play around with it. It's just a really nice toy. It's a pretty durable toy too. Now, no toy is completely chew-proof, but what I'll tell you is that when the dog does this on the toy, it's very, very difficult for them to destroy it. What I have found with my own dogs is that whenever they take their teeth and they bring them to these little things right here and they begin to peel that away, that's going to quickly destroy the ball. So if that's your dog, unfortunately, you're going to go through these pretty quickly, okay? But the dog that bites it like that does well. So what I do is I cut this rope, and then we feed the rope through there, and I use these balls to play fetch. One, because it gives me a lot of leverage, and two, yeah, look, I've got dog slobber on me all the time, but this is a great way to keep me a little bit more slobber free when I'm using this. So now let me just tell you a little bit about the giveaway. So we've revamped our newsletter. We're sending out more content that's going to be useful for you guys. There's not like any sales pitches or anything like that. We're talking about like our Q&A schedule. I'm talking about the Instagram food giveaway, and I'm also talking about like these, the Q&A schedule, the Instagram posts. There's some, and we're going to show you whatever video that we filmed that week that's kind of a how-to or a documentary of me working, so that way you can see some dog training. But what you can do to win one of these balls is if you'll go over to our website, that's longoriahouse.com, LONGORIAHAUS.com. When you go there, if you look across the top of the screen, if you're on a desktop, you'll see a place where it says newsletter. And if you look there on the newsletter, okay, you can go in, submit your information, and then out of the folks that sign up for our newsletter tonight, I'm going to pick one lucky family to win these, and we're going to ship that out to you guys before the end of the week. So here, I'm going to go ahead and put in the website real quick for those of you guys that are wanting it. So if you go there and just visit. You'll be able to see that. Okay, so it's longoriahouse.com. Visit there, and you'll be able to see the newsletter at the top. If you're on a mobile device, you will have to hit the hamburger. That's those 3 lines, and that's going to open the menu. When you open the menu, scroll down and find the newsletter. Alternatively, if you're on a mobile device, scroll all the way to the bottom of the home page. And when you do that, there's also going to be a form right there that you can fill out and sign up for our newsletter for a chance to win the balls. And then again, I guess I'll talk about the other contest. The folks that are in our contest actually get an entry form to be able to win, to be able to enter our Instagram contest. Our Instagram contest, what you do is you're going to actually submit us a photo of your dog. And then on Saturday evening, we're going to post that to our Instagram profile page, and whichever dog gets the most likes between Saturday evening and Monday evening is actually going to win a bag of their dog's favorite food. And I'll tell you what, I bought a bag of dog food today. That bag of dog food costs $100, so it doesn't really matter to me which is your dog's favorite food, or if you want to try something new. Okay, enter that contest. If you're the winner, we'll get you whatever bag of dog food that you want and get that delivered to you. All right. All right, let's take a look at some of the questions. Okay, Deborah. So Kim and Deborah, did that explanation help you, ladies? I hope it did. If it doesn't, I'll make sure to go back over it again. And was that the toy that you were talking about? All right. Hey, Mandy. So you have some questions. Do you have any tips on helping a dog who's afraid of rain or thunderstorms? Yeah, I actually do. Let me give you 2 tips, but I'm going to give you a resource where you can actually find out more about how to help a dog with this. So dogs that are worried about that, one of the things that they're looking for is they're looking for a calm place to escape. But if they feel like they just can't quite escape the thunder. A lot of this is just being sensitive to sound. So I've developed a protocol that's been successful. It's not always successful because this can be a tricky one, but it's pretty successful at helping the dog develop some coping mechanisms of how to deal with that. So it always goes back to the first skill that I train a dog, and then beginning to introduce the thunder to it. So let me give you some tips here. First thing is train your dog on the place command. Once you begin to get your dog onto the place command, what I like to do, I've got a couple of stereo systems, and something that can play some music. And for me, I go over to Spotify, and when I go on Spotify, I will find a thunder rain track, and I will begin to play that at very low levels. I'm going to try to dim the lights in the house to kind of simulate that it's a thunderstorm. And I'm going to begin to show my dog that when you're calm and down on the bed, that we're going to begin to pet you and really show you that this is the right place to be during the storm. I also want the dog to kind of get a little startled and to come off the bed. And then for me to place the dog back on, get the dog to stabilize a little bit, and then begin to reinforce the dog. One other tip that I want to give is that you can actually diffuse essential oils. Now, I'm going to admit I don't know a lot about essential oils, but this is one piece of information that I'm pretty sure about, that is safe for your dog. Okay, but there's a lot to essential oils. I know they can be dangerous if you use them wrong. So, but I do believe that this advice is sound. So we can also diffuse lavender essential oil into the environment when we're doing this conditioning with our dog prior to the real storm. And so the formula that I'm using is about 10 drops of essential oil, lavender essential oil, in about 100 milliliters of water into your diffuser. And if you don't know what any of this stuff is, hey, send me a private message afterwards. I'd love to kind of guide you through like, hey, what is a diffuser? What is a bottle of essential oils? And how do I end up using that to be able to help my dogs? So, hey, Mandy, hope that answers your question, and thank you so much for joining in tonight. Oh, yeah, so, yeah, I forgot that I mentioned this. So, hey, Tanya, thanks for joining in tonight. Appreciate you being here with us and asking a question. So, I've got a YouTube video. So, if you go to YouTube and you look for Longoria House, that's Longoriahaus. If you look for Longoria House on YouTube, I actually have a video that I shot a few months ago that kind of talks about all of these things. Now, this video is a little bit different. The video is in virtual reality. So when you get that video, you're going to have your phone, and as you're watching it, you're going to have to move your phone around to interact with the environment to kind of see some of the different things that I'm doing in the room. It's a little bit of a different experience for folks whenever they do VR for the first time. But if you go over to Longoria House, there's a Longoria House on YouTube. You'll be able to find a video that kind of walks you through, how I deal with this. And hey, if that's a little too much that it's in virtual reality, I'm more than happy to shoot another episode on our YouTube channel that's going to show you guys in just normal 16:9 or even square format of, hey, how do I do this? Again, guys, thank you all so very much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate you guys coming in and spending your evening asking your questions, and maybe even listening to the questions that people are asking. I hope that's helpful for you. So, okay, so Sarah, yes, my Great Dane refuses to go outside in the rain. It's just one of those things. So how about this? It's still 100 degrees outside. So why not this weekend get your sprinkler, get your leash, and run around the sprinkler with your dog. Just begin to maybe start off with a little sprinkling the dog on the outside of it, and begin to maybe play with your dog, but have them begin to get used to it. Now, I'll tell you this. I've seen this, and I tell people all the time. People are like, oh, my dog doesn't want to go outside in the rain and play. And the person is standing right underneath the patio, underneath the covered deck, and they want their dog to go out in the rain. So I'm a big believer, if you want your dog to go out in the rain and they don't want to, you're going to have to lead the way, forge that path forward with your dog to show them that, hey, look, I'm willing to go in the rain. You're going to get to come along with me and use the restroom. And I think if that your dog sees your courage in those moments, that, hey, I'm willing to get wet with you so that way you can understand it's important, then it's reasonable to think that your dog is sometime in the near future is going to begin to actually go there and on their own. So hey, I'm a big proponent for that. I go in the rain all the time with my dogs. When we compete with our dogs, it's such a funny thing. When we compete with our dogs, it's almost always inclement weather. It's one of two things. My female dog is in season, and the rain and the weather is just the worst weather that you can imagine. But hey, we don't get to pick the days that we necessarily compete on, and I just love being able to do those kinds of things. All right, let's take a look. Let's see, our dog sleeps in our room and I play thunderstorms to fall asleep. It seems to have helped her feel with that. Yeah, it's really gonna, it's such a big help. Oh, Annie, I didn't recognize you because you probably changed your profile picture. That's why I was having a hard time with you. So hey, good. Hope you guys are doing well. Miss you guys. So, all right, Mandy, thanks for the great advice. I never considered playing the storm sounds. I already have lavender essential oils. Now, I'll tell you guys this. I've seen some stuff, but I'm not willing to give advice here because, frankly, I just don't really know all that much about it. But, okay, there's some other essential oils that have a calming effect. Okay, and I think that if you research it and you maybe cross-reference it, kind of look at a couple places, there's some different essential oils that might actually be more effective at calming your dog. One thing that I talk about, and this is such an odd thing that I recently learned, is a lot of our biochemistry as humans, a lot of our biochemistry is actually in our saliva. And I thought this piece of advice that somebody gave was so fascinating. So this particular dog trainer, when he comes into contact with, when he's going to meet dogs that are aggressive, he will do things to raise his testosterone prior to that. And there's some body language things that you can do to raise your testosterone. And then the guy will actually spit into his hand, which has all the sense and all the biochemistry of what's going on in his body. And then he'll allow the dog to smell that saliva. Now that sounds kind of sick, but for this guy, he's trying to help these dogs to learn how to relate. And so when the dog smells that actually gives the dog a pretty big signal about us. Like, it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that's watching right now that, hey, your body chemistry, and if you're anxious or nervous or excited or happy or hopeful, our bodies are giving off scent, and your dog can actually pick up on those scents. A dog, I like to state this, I think it's just such a fascinating thing that your dog can detect scents down as small as 6 parts per billion. It's just fascinating to me that a dog can actually do that. So, just really something to think about. Well, hey guys, we're at the 47-minute mark. Okay, and I'm definitely happy to take any more questions that anybody has. Okay, I do want to mention just a couple of things as I'm considering wrapping up. But again, thank you so much for watching. Again, let me just talk about the giveaways that we have going on. So if you are getting our newsletter. Okay, if you are getting our newsletter, we just sent one out. On Tuesday, I believe. But if you're getting our newsletter, we have an Instagram contest. Okay, and if you can get that newsletter. Follow the link that's in the newsletter, and it'll give you the rules to be able to sign up for our Instagram contest. When you enter the contest and you submit your picture, if your dog gets the most likes, okay, over the weekend, then you're going to win a bag of your dog's favorite food, or any bag that you want. It could be anything that your dog wants. If it's a $100 bag of dog food, if it's a $20 bag of dog food, or hey, you just say, hey Al, I want $50 of your favorite treats to give dogs. Heck, we'll even give that away. You let me know what you want to win in dog food, and we'll make that happen. Okay, so if you are watching this and you're not getting our newsletter, the way that you can do that, okay, is head over to the website. I'm going to go ahead and put the website up again, okay, right now. Head over to our website, okay, and at the top of the page, you're going to see the place where it says newsletter if you're on a desktop. So if you open that page, put in your information, and then you'll start getting our newsletter. And like I said, I'm going to pick one winner, one person that signs up from our newsletter tonight to actually win these dog toys that we're giving away. If you're on a mobile device, there's another way that you can go to sign up for a newsletter. Go to our page, and let me see if I can pull it up on the phone so I can kind of show you guys what that looks like. So let's grab Safari here, head on over to LongoriaHouse.com, and again, house is spelled the German way because I love German Shepherd dogs and the German people. They're great people. And all right. So here comes the website, I'm getting it loaded up. And when you get on the website, I'm going to show you, if you're on a mobile device, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, then you're going to see that form to be able to enter in, to receive our newsletter, and to also learn about our contest. It is taking a little bit of time. It is taking a little bit of time to be able to load up. I have all the devices on airplane mode right now, and so that might be why. But okay, so here's the website. Okay, if you guys can see that. So I'm just going to begin to scroll, and as I scroll all the way down to the bottom, okay, there it is right there. That's the entry form to be able to get our newsletters and to be able to win these cool prizes of getting these dog toys, and also to win a bag of your dog food. Okay, so just go to LongoriaHouse.com, scroll down to the bottom, put your information in, and then you might actually win that stuff. So hey, love for it to be you. Okay, so Annie, you've got a couple other questions. There are certain dogs on our walks in the city that seem to set Daisy off. She barks like crazy and lunges. Other dogs, there is no reaction at all. What is happening there? So it's hard to predict, right? It's a hard thing for us to predict, what are the things that are going to set the dog off, okay? I think what I would tell you is I really make that the responsibility of the dog. Like, it would be nice to know. It'd be nice to know, is it the way that the dog is, how close the dog is to me, the way the dog smells, the way the dog moves, the sounds that the dog is making. What is it? It's one of those components. Or maybe Daisy's just a jerk, right? But I doubt that. But there's some kind of trigger that turns her into a jerk or a jerkette, right? So here's what I'm going to tell you. You may actually never know, but I'll ask you this. Is it ever okay for her to treat another dog that way? And I'm going to tell you that I don't think that it is. So it's important that now you know that there's some randomness to it, that you really be vigilant in being prepared to be able to let her know. Now, the prong collar can be a nice tool when it is on a slack leash, which is about a 4-foot leash. The prong collar that I would recommend is probably a 3 1/4 millimeter prong collar. There's different sizes. This one's called the medium, but it's a 3 1/4 millimeter. I would have the leash completely loose, and I would maybe become friends with the people that have dogs that set her off a little bit, so that way you can set some situations where the dogs are going to pass by at a safe distance, and that she can get triggered. When she gets triggered and she decides to react, if you have a slack leash and she gets to the end of the line and the prong collar engages, the prong collar could potentially tell her to stop doing that. Let's just say that it does. I'm going to give you a few scenarios. Let's just say that it does tell her to stop pulling on the leash and stop reacting. It does now become very important that you then, the next time that you pass by that dog and she makes a better decision, that you begin to reward your dog and saying, I understand that was difficult for you. You used to act badly towards that dog, but now you're behaving better, and this is where you want to put a reward. I generally tend to stay away from toy rewards because I don't want to release any more adrenaline into the situation. I like to use food, I like to use petting, and I like to use praise in these instances when the dog is making that decision. Okay, if the medium prong collar, the 3 1/4 millimeter is not working, you may need to go to a small prong collar, which is a 2 1/4 millimeter. This one's like the puppy teeth. It's a little bit stronger, and you want to set the leash to be at about 4 or 5 feet distance. Let her lunge, let the puppy teeth prong collar tell her that you're not allowed to do that. Now, I do know that you also have a remote collar when your dog does that. If you don't have either one of those and you have your remote collar, you want to set it to the corrective level, a level that definitely tells her no. And then the moment that she pulls and she lunges, your timing needs to be particularly good. It's the second that she's at the end of the line, or as she begins to aggress the other dog, this is where you want to press the button. It's not so important to say no here as it is to associate that you are getting in trouble for lunging at the other dog, and I'm not okay with that. But again, it goes back to the next thing, which I've already said, but I just can't stress it enough. When you find the thing that corrects her and she actually starts to make better decisions, it is so important to reward your dog for getting it right as she overcomes this issue. Hey, I hope that helps you. If you're having any struggles with that, feel free to reach back out, send me a private message. I'd love to help you. All right. Well, hey guys, it's let's see, what time is it? It's 8:55. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask before we wrap up? Okay. Really, again, I know I've said it, but I just can't tell you how humbled I am that you're here joining us, asking your questions. We really just want to bring a lot of value to you guys and help you. Looks like something came in. I said, hey, Al, thanks again for these videos. Oh, hey, it's my pleasure, Matthew. We love doing these things for you guys. Again, our schedule for the month is we're going to do one of these every Wednesday in August, okay? So please, if I love your support, please come back again next week. Just if you want to watch, even if you don't have any questions, join us. Hey, maybe even let a friend know. Invite a friend to this Q&A. We'd love to be able to help them to improve their relationship with their dogs. All right, hey, so we just got another question. I'll take this as the last one, and then we'll wrap up, okay? So, hey, Jonathan, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Appreciate you spending some of your time. Why does my dog lick the carpet so much? Well, man, it probably just tastes really awesome. I'm kind of being funny, but it's one of those things, it's always interesting to me what dogs are willing to put their mouth on. There are those dogs out there that will actually eat poop, and one of the things that I've talked about when it comes to poop eating, and I don't necessarily know if it has to do with carpet eating or carpet licking, is that there may be some vitamins and minerals, and I'm not talking about proteins, carbs, or fats, but there may be some vitamins and minerals that are missing in their diet, okay? And the reason I say is, like, if a dog will go over to poop, we'll smell it, and then the dog's nose is super sensitive, and let's just say they're not getting complete nutrition, I'm starting to really believe that if their nutrition isn't complete, that they may actually find some of those trace minerals that's in that poop and then eat the poop to get their minerals against their better judgment. So I think sometimes what happens is that, like in this case, and I'm just making an assumption, I'm not necessarily sure, is that the dog might be smelling something that's sending some kind of primal or instinctive cue to the brain that, hey, this is something that there's like some dirt in here and some minerals in here, and that I need to begin to lick this because I might be deficient at it. One of the things that I recommend you, and I'd like to hear your feedback on this, and hey, Jonathan, what I'd like to do for you to kind of test my theory, and maybe you can help me out, this is one of the foods that we feed. I'm really a big proponent for this food. Just love it. Love the nutrition that it offers to our dogs. I don't make any money off of this, but hey, this bag is yours. And what I'd ask you to do is I'd ask you to feed a food like this over the next month, and then see if the licking on the carpet goes less, because this is a pretty balanced food. It's going to meet all of your dog's needs, at least I believe so. And I'd be interested to see if the dog's licking of the carpet actually goes down. But there's something instinctive telling the brain to do that. Now, and if you'd like that, send me a private message with your address, and we'll mail that bag of dog food to you. It's really a fantastic food. It's what we feed our own dogs. But let me just talk about one other thing. Let's just say that your dog might be doing it just kind of as a nervous behavior, that it's licking this and it just can't stop. It can't stop. Sarah, the name of that food, this one is called Acana, Acana. And it's made by a company called Champion Pet Foods. They do make another food, and this one is called Origin. They're very, very similar in nutrition, and I kind of interchange them for my dogs. But I think that it can really be beneficial. I'll give you kind of a quick rundown of my beliefs on dog food. I believe that the ingredient list on the back of your dog's food should read like a fine dining restaurant. If it reads like a laboratory, then I would stay away from it, okay? I think that some, like in kibble, you have to actually have some chemical names in there for them to be able to stabilize it. But I'll tell you, on the Acana and the Origin, there's maybe only 2 chemicals on there. There's some kind of chemical sounding names, but those are actually bacteria that are in there, but that's just a really complete type of food. So again, the names of those food are Origin and Acana, Origin, and then Acana. Well, hey guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Thank you again so much for joining us. If I missed your question for any reason, please feel free to send me a message. Send me a message afterwards, and be more than happy to answer it. So hey, thanks again. Have a good night. Again, my name is Al with Longoria House Dog Training. We appreciate you guys. Have a good evening. Good night.